In 2020, there have been 5 days in which the market dropped 5% in one day. After all those 5 days, there was a green day the next day, but then that Monday coming, there was bloody Mondays. In this video, I'm going to explain why there will be a huge stock market crash next week, a huge correction next week, and why we need to be aware and capitalize this on investors. And I will show you guys what I'm doing in this video. So stay tuned till the end and I'll show you guys what I'm doing and all my positions and all my plays, and hope you guys enjoy. Let's get to it. First of all, look at this chart. This is the path of bull markets after the rebound 82.09, and now right where the stock market started to realize these gains after the crash. Alright, so looking at this is insane. That our 2020, we are so high compared to the other ones. We've taken off so much. There are a few that are close to us, but it's still, we are way fast to correct. This is crazy because it's not like the rona is coming and stopping anytime soon. This is just building up. There's more and more cases every day, which I'll get into the data of in a second. But this is insane. This is super serious what's going on, and it's getting worse, but yet the stock market proving faster than any other crash in history, which is absolutely insane. The 2009 crash, as you can see, that's in the black. That's correcting so much slower. Especially look at the other ones. Look at the 2002, the 1987. Those are proving so much slower. And in my opinion, the stock market is so unreasonable, so overvalued. We're bouncing back way too quickly. We are due for a correction. I believe that we will have the start of the correction sometime this week. Alright guys, let's look at some technical analysis on the stock market after crashes and after bloody Mondays and after big drops. We'll see in a second. Alright, so as you can see, the start of the crash, big drop, big drop, big drop. After the big drop, there's usually a slight recovery. Boom, just right there. Another big drop, big drop, big drop. Another slight recovery. Big drop, big drop, big drop. Slight recovery. And finally, the last drop. And then a big recovery. And we finally recovered. Every time we recovered, we were slightly overbought. So we get oversold. Then overbought, then oversold. And as you can see, we just increased up until then, and we finally had a dip, and I believe we finally gonna have a correction right there, and then we're gonna finally have a bloody Monday, which will be right there. So that's my thoughts and technical analysis on the. Let's take a look at the NASDAQ index, which is positive year to date. This chart just shows you how much room we have to downtrend, and the fact that we have not recovered from the rona, the fact that the election is coming up, which I'll get in more to in a few minutes, and just the fact that we're at all-time highs. So that's insane, the fact that everything's going on, and I think we have so much room to downtrend from here. Next, we can look at the Dow Jones Industrial. As you can see, we're almost at all-time highs and almost positive year to date. We're pretty much right there. So this just shows you another index that has so much room to downtrend. And finally, the S&P 500, the SPY, which we've been looking at and doing the technicals on. It's positive in the past year and almost positive past year to date. Something else we need to be aware of is another index that I do expect to drop very soon up in the coming week. This is just another visual to look at. The S&P 500 was 2,800 last June, and the employment rate was 3.6%. And this June 8th, the S&P 500 is almost 3,200. The unemployment is 13.3%. This makes no sense on a fundamental level, and this is just crazy to me, and is yet another opportunity to ride the market down. So one thing that has been boosting the stock market and holding the economy up is the CARES Act. This is a visualization of the CARES Act. As you can see, the direct payments to consumers, the unemployment benefits, the tax breaks, the loans, the small business loans, the households, the large businesses, the health providers, and all the grants. Just so much money given out by the government, boosting the stock market, boosting the economy. In my opinion, this cannot last forever. The economy just cannot keep on printing money. The printers cannot keep printing on the daily, it's just insane. All the funds that have been boosted into the economy, and there's going to be crazy inflation because of this. There's going to be a stock market drop because of this. And one thing that to be aware of is people have been flooding money into the market because there's nowhere else to go with their money. If you put in a savings account, you get like less than 1% now, which is crazy. Also with bonds, the bonds are not safe anymore, so why people will be investing in bonds? So where else are they to put your money? Either housing, or stock market. And a stock market is so much easier than buying a house for everybody, especially during the Rona. So people are just flooding money into the market, and this is not going to last forever, in my opinion. And once fear starts, these investors that are putting their money into the market and just putting all they have into the market, they're going to get scared and take all their money out once they see themselves start losing this. And once again, I do expect this to start next week. Another thing that has been boosting the economy is people getting less fear about the Rona. In real time, though, look at this chart. The Rona cases are only increasing. Look at this big spike recently, starting in June. It's absolutely insane, the daily change in Rona cases and everything else. People are getting less scared. People are just going out more and more. And for this reason, people are going to get the virus more often. Nobody's social distancing anymore. All these businesses are opening. In my hometown, businesses just started opening 75% this week, which I think is super unreasonable. And the fact that this virus is at its worst point right now, and the virus is growing, and the numbers are the worst they have ever been, this is the worst time to do it. This is only going to increase the spreading of the Rona cases. So this, by the New York Times, was updated June 13th at 2:35 p.m. Eastern Time. The total cases are 7.6 billion plus, and the total deaths is 427,000 plus. This is a global pandemic. We need to realize people are dying. There's new cases every day. There's more people dying every single day. And just this plain chart, you can see we had a big spike leading to April, and since then we've kind of leveled off. And recently we're looking at another substantial spike. Not a huge spike, but substantially, and we're just going up slower and slower. So that's super scary. We're still going up in cases. This virus is not getting better for us. This virus is not getting better for businesses. As they open up even more, there's just going to be more spreading, like I said. This is super scary. We need to be aware of this. And once these numbers come out and start scaring people, once unemployment spikes once again for the negative, I think this is going to scare investors away and just cause another crash, in my opinion. So here's a chart of all the reported cases currently. Reported cases are not the same as real life cases. We need to realize that. Real life cases are much, much more than this. But look at all these states that have 40,000 or more in the United States. It's just crazy. The high amounts of the high populated areas. The east side is blowing up with cases. California, Texas, all these states are just getting more and more cases every day. And the more cases there are, the faster the spreading happens. So I was reading this article by an expert in the biology and health field, and they were saying when the COVID-19 vaccine will be ready and why. So reading this article, I found out that this vaccine is not close. First of all, it takes a super long time to experiment on people. The only way you can experiment is to have a real life case and use that person to experiment with. From reading this article, that's what I found out. And also, if they actually do find a vaccine, how expensive is that going to be? How are they going to mass produce this and get it out to everybody? So that's another thing we need to realize. The economy is based on the past and the stock market is based on the future, and many people are betting on this vaccine coming out very soon. But in my opinion, this is not going to happen. And the fact that people are betting on sometime this year the vaccine coming out, I would expect it by the end of the year or the beginning of next year. But still, that's still substantially far away, and the stock market should not be trading years in advance. It should be trading months in advance. And we have no news knowing that the vaccine is going to come out. We've had glimpses of positive news later turned to be false, and some positive news is positive. They're making progress on the vaccine, but not fast progress whatsoever. So I think we're going to get into a market correction sometime very soon, and my prediction is we'll have a bloody Monday this week, a bloodbath in the market. I could guess down 3 to 4% in my opinion. This could be anything. We could have a green day on Monday, but that's not what I'm predicting. I'm playing a red day on Monday. I'm betting on the stock market going down. I'll get into my positions in a little bit, but I want to get into one more issue that could affect investors long term. And if the stock market really does trade on future fear, this is a fear factor that investors are horrified of. Investors are super afraid of. So let's get into that. Okay, so this is just speculation. All the BLM movements, all the riots that are going on, this makes it more increasingly likely that Trump will not be reelected and that Joe Biden will win the election. Now, as we know, the stock market has done amazing under Donald Trump. His main focus is focusing on the economy, and with the new president stepping in, this would greatly affect the markets. Every election year that there's speculation of a Democrat winning, if you look in the past years, you can see that the market takes a big dip. It's super volatile leading up to the election, And if Joe Biden gets elected, I could expect a pretty big drop because people are just comfortable with Trump and the economy. People are comfortable with what Trump has done to boost the stock market. His main focus is on the United States being successful financially, and the fact that we just don't know what's going to happen with Biden. We don't know any of the new policies that's going to go into play. This is just super scary for investors, and a big reason that investors are going to be more increasingly feared. I've been looking at a bunch of tweets, a bunch of speculation, a bunch of social research, that people are very scared what's going to happen with the stock market when Trump comes, and if Trump does not get reelected. So this is something to be super aware of. It's something that's going to make this market super volatile once again, and another thing to potentially help the crash go on. So let's talk about some positions that I have going into next week. So the first position I'm going to talk about is HTZ puts on Hertz. So Hertz is a company that's very over leveraged in debt, and I believe is going to be the one that gets hit hardest when the correction happens next week, which is what I'm predicting. Another thing that I'm super heavily invested in is TVIX. So TVIX is the fear indicator, VIX is the fear indicator, and TVIX doubles the movement of VIX. And so the reason I'm super bullish on this is I've been doing a ton of social research, looking at all the investor fear, and I believe that the fear is going to mount and mount and mount over the weekend, leading into the TVIX skyrocketing up 30-40% on Monday. That's just a prediction. I'm not a financial advisor, but that is what I think is going to happen, and that's why I'm super heavy in TVIX. And the final position that I have is SPXS, which measures the downtrending of the SPY, and it multiplies that by 3. So every 1% that the stock market goes down, SPXS goes up by 3%. So I expect the stock market to go down 3 to 4%, which result in SPXS going up 9 to 12%. This is just my prediction for next week. This is just my plays. I'm not a financial advisor. Do not copy what I'm doing in the market. I have a very different risk tolerance than you, but this is the reason I'm betting on the stock market going down. And the investor fear is just, I believe, at almost highs for the past couple months. And I believe that this could lead to another crash, correction, and bloody money next week. So these statistics are the reason that I'm expecting a stock market dip next week. Let me know in the comments below if you think my predictions are wrong, if you have a different prediction, and what you think is just going to happen in the markets in general in the coming months, the coming weeks, and more. Please like the video. Please subscribe. The private stock group link is below if you're interested in joining. Get your 2 free stocks on Webull, one valued from $14 to $1,400. So great value. That offer will be ending soon when Webull takes it off. So I do recommend that you get those 2 free stocks before the promotion ends. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let's get rich, guys.